No, it's real hard to come up with something of an intro for you guys. Really, especially this movie. I don't know. I thought probably like a start off with a skit or something. Probably a little acting here and there, or maybe just some little fight that'll get you guys so interested in it. My cage! Oh! Wait. Oh. What is this movie? It's so slow. Even some bloopers might have worked out for here.
Be gay.
Ah! But no, it didn't work. Now I have to deal with this. Why? Because this freaking movie is it's just so hard. It's a joke on its own half the times. Wanna know why? Because it's freaking Red Dawn. Dan Bradley's 2012 Red Dawn version. Now before I get started, let me just clear the air here. I get iffy with any movies from the past giving a modernization of movies that were either classics or already failures or in the form of an adaptation of any form whatsoever. Granted that remake movies like The Karate Kid and The Dark Knight could be debated as beating the original to its extent or just hand down. However, that was rare, and there were remakes that either halfway met the original or failed on its own or just sucked like the original and really just did not need any remakes. And this brings us to the comparison of the 1984 version of Red Dawn to the 2012 Red Dawn. Now, the 1984 version is actually one of my personal favorite action movies and war movies of all time. And if you haven't seen it, why haven't you dropped your balls? Seriously, drop some balls, grow a pair, and freaking go watch the movie. Go rent it, go see it, I don't know, freaking borrow it from a friend. There's an online freaking link right down here if you want to look at it. Just look! It's a good movie. I recommend it. 4 stars out of 5. That's the N.E.E.R rating right there. 4 stars. Just go watch it. The movie is based on the Cold War theory that one day the Soviet Union and the U.S. will go to war along with the world. World War III, if you will. The main question was, on whose land? In Red Dawn, the Soviet and the Cubans invade the country, and a group of Colorado teens turned guerrillas fight back to save their town. Although the movie had some bland characters, no complete development, nor character relations in most cases, that's not to say it went through the entire movie. However, I do like the way it tackles on how civilians might deal with a disaster that destroys their lives, much like how the Vietnamese reacted with us invading their land, which is kind of ironic actually. There are a few emotional moments here and there, and even a few scenes from an antagonist's point of view, but the movie does fail to some extent, receiving a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. However, this is where I disagree and just give it a 4-star rating. However, the action does seem to show a lot, and I do mean a lot of violence, that makes the movie just chilling to see. If anything, this movie was the first to receive a rated PG-13 based on the violence it exploits and holds the Guinness World Record of violent acts. Haha! Take that, Scarface!
Cockroaches!
This is what might have saved the movie from being completely boring. If you watched this back then and even kept the idea of someone invading your homeland from a superpower country, you would feel nothing but chills and goosebumps coming down on you and wondering to yourself, would you do this in the name of all that you fight for as a civilian, let alone freedom?
We live here!
Exactly my point. Now, someone might be wondering, what about the new version? Well, it's sucks balls. Major balls. Major balls. It was like a blowjob that you didn't want. It just freaking rolled up on you like this. It's like freaking Randy Marsh's balls bouncing all about the street, and you're just wondering, oh my god. Even before the movie came out, I knew it was going to suck based on 3 elements. The time frame was an hour short. The CGI effects looked as if it was making way for the Olympics Has Fallen movie, which, by the way, does kind of bring up a couple of questions of why so much North Korean invading-based movies all tend to suck and all came out around the same time period, and how much time the release date was delayed for years. And oh my gosh, Man, was I right? Actually, I saved $15 for that movie, but I still had to watch it, and I still saw the horror of it. God damn you, Comcast. Well, I'm JC, and this is the Dan Bradley's 2012 version of Red Dawn.
For them, this is just some place. For us, this is our home.
So we get some opening credits. Opening credits. When's the last time we saw those? Anyways, the opening credits show us clips of the reality and tension between the United States and the North Koreans have been evolving to war for some time. This is probably the only good piece of change that I can say did better than the opening captions hitting us in the beginning of the film, giving us the actual real-world tension buildup of the real world and the scenario we're about to get into. Yeah, this is probably the only good storytelling and plot we're ever gonna get out of this. You guys set yourselves up for this. You guys really set yourselves up for this. We open up our scenario with Jet Eckhart, played by now Chris Hemsworth and formerly by the late Patrick Swayze, rest in peace, arriving from deployment to see his brother at a football game. His brother is Matt Eckhart, formerly played by Charlie Sheen and now played by Josh Peck, is a cocky, stubborn, generic douchebag quarterback that sees it his way or the highway, resulting him in the loss for his team. And I'm already gonna tell I'm not gonna like his performance. Oh, and by the way, they both have love interests, carrying similar names to the only two female roles played by Leah Thompson and Jennifer Grey, from the original, of course. In this case, however, Erica, Matt's love interest, is played by Isabel Lucas, while Tony is Jed's childhood love interest, is played by Adrian Palicki. So while at a bar that seems to look like the Till to Kill, except I don't see any pretty girls or any form of an employee whatsoever, celebrating, they're lost, I guess, I don't know. Until a mysterious power outage goes out through the entire town. Isn't that suspicious? Well, lucky for us, this will never happen. God damn it. So the power goes out, everyone in a civilized, calm manner returns home for the evening. Jetta waits for his brother at home as their dad heads out to work as a cop. Matt soon arrives only to turn down his cool brother's beer offer and acts like a total douchebag by throwing cheesy, unwitty marine comments at him.
Hang on, man. Hey, don't you have to scare the perimeter or something? Rendezvous with douche company?
Whoa, security area, told douchebag company to go home, man, so I can beat your ass right now. So, get over here now! They soon awake to find the ground shaking beneath them, and we find out that the invaders have finally arrived. However, this time it's not the Soviets and Cubans that are invading, it's the North Koreans. Really, guys? You couldn't make the graphics look even one bit realistic than this? The brothers soon take action by gathering everyone that they can, except Erica, as she is seen captured by our main antagonist and head out into the woods. As they get there, they begin to set up shelter from some abandoned home, and we take knowledge of these pointless characters.
And Pete. They're from out of town, San Diego or something. They just saw their dad get killed.
Well, don't worry, they won't last in the movie one bit. Oh, and just a fair warning, this is as far as character knowledge you were going to get from any side of the characters. Just at least one or two sentences from them, or from someone else is telling us who they are, or what they mean to the movie, or whatnot. Half of these people are not even used as plot devices. They're just there, actually. Way to handle a cast of characters, people. We know you did your best. So Jed takes charge and orders the kids to go set up a television to find out what may be occurring.
Don't go outside unless it's an absolute emergency. Become separated from someone and you don't know where they are, a hotline has been set up to help you.
Hey, what the hell, man?
Bullshit.
What does that mean?
What do you think it means?
It means we're screwed.
No duh, Sherlock! Later that night, the group hears a large vehicle coming their way. Jed orders hot-headed Matt to stand guard at the house while he goes and checks it out. Just as they realize that for some stupid reason that the car is friendly, even though he can not even see past the windshield to see the driver's face or any whatnot, and never once considering the fact that it may be enemy in a civilian car driving by, he nearly loses his head when Pete from earlier tries to see if he can scare away the car with a small pistol.
my head off!
I thought they got past you.
As Red Foreman would say.
You're a dumbass! You give me the gun.
I'm not giving you dick. Who the hell put you in charge anyway?
Let's see, okay, to start this list off, let's just say that, one, he has military experience, he's older than you, he knows what he's doing, and you just acted childishly and dangerously and put your team in danger. So, oh, may I go on? Okay. Hey, here's one to top the list off. This one takes the cake, actually. He's a freaking Marine! I think he's the more likely choice to be the leader of the group. What do you... Are you that dumb? He's more likely the leader than you child actors put together. You fucking
Dumbass! Yeah, let's compromise. What?
Okay, now he's just acting like a baby. So it turns out that Tony and another pointless character that I'm sure won't pass the 60-minute marker of the movie were in the car, who managed to escape the invasion.
Everybody inside.
The next morning, they wake up to find that baby Pete has left with a few friends along with the supplies.
That prick knows where we are, so keep your eyes open.
You know, baby Pete, let me call you that, it's one thing to let your ego go haywire when you're not the leader, and trust me, I can understand that, I really do, but, it's another to actually sell out your friends to the enemy for that type of motive, you pathetic plot device.
There's no one here. I swear. This is where they were.
Dick move, my friend. Dick move. When the North Koreans finally arrived at the front doorstep, they happened to bring along the mayor of the town, also known as Derek's father, and Jed and Matt's dad as well. Why? I mean, yeah, it could bring up an emotional moment, but how did the North Koreans know that these were their fathers? But you're gonna tell me that out of all the commotion, all the chaos occurring, this soldier happens to remember who injured his men, and not only that, but bring their father along because he knows the same boys.
What I'm going to ask you to do may be very difficult, but I want you boys to do what I would do. I want you to go to war and stop this piece of shit.
Okay, I'm gonna be dead honest with you guys right now. It's real talk right now. I gave no two shits about the father getting killed. Really, I had no sudden sympathy, no feelings, no sorriness, or anything on this scene. I really didn't.
What the hell is wrong with you, you sick bastard?
Oh, like you're not. Hold on. Let me explain though. When you're going for a death scene, not only are you supposed to give the victim meaningful character development or meaning at all, which to their credit somewhat did, but they were supposed to make the scene feel the way the boys are feeling, sad and heartbroken. However, here, it fails under these three elements. Bad acting, bad development on the character, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, but the violence wasn't taken advantage of. Bad acting because this guy was just giving a corny speech that's so poorly done and boring. If anything, this speech makes the speech from Independence Day much more exciting. In addition to that, he sounded like he was trying to cry, but also acting as if he was holding it in like any man should do for their sons.
Or die trying.
As for the character itself, I don't know this guy and I really don't care anymore. He really had little screen time with little dialogues, and nothing of him made me feel attached to the character. And as for the third element, I'm sorry, but if we put one in the head, a lot of blood is supposed to come out. And I mean a lot of blood. Here, there's no blood anywhere. This title got famous for having a lot of violence, and all you give us is this? No! Some of you might argue, don't the originals suffer from the same elements? Well, yes and no, actually. Yes, because the father may have been 7 minutes on the screen time. We didn't know much of the father, and acting may have been over the top by the end of the scene.
Avenge me! Avenge me!
And there wasn't really any blood in the execution. However, here's the difference. Not only did the actor act like he had to be strong for his boys so that they can follow suit, but the character took advantage of the entire scene to actually let us see who he is to them by reassuring them of their worries and telling them that they really need to be strong when he himself is at his most vulnerable point. Also, the acting wasn't that bad. Maybe the boys crying maybe pushed it out a little too easy. But it works. To top it off, although the scene of all the parents of the kids being executed didn't have blood, it was very violent for one to see. Think about it. Wouldn't you look away after seeing that these parents are not only facing execution for their kids did, but also that they are digging their own graves, slowly and suspensefully? As if we were begging for someone to save these parents for death. And to put the icing on the cake, they sang "Let Freedom Ring" as they got all shot by a firing squad. Mommy, what are you doing? Why? Are they gonna shoot them? Mommy, what is... I'm no!
You're a pussy.
After their only shelter had been burned to the ground, Jet thinks that the Koreans went too far and had enough. I smell the cliche patriotic speech coming.
I'm gonna fight. Now this is easier for me because I'm used to it. The rest of you are gonna have a tougher choice. And look, I don't want to sell it to you. It's too ugly for that. And it's ugly and it's hard. But when you're fighting in your own backyard, you're fighting for your family. It all hurts a little less and it makes a little more sense. And for them, this is just some place. But for us, this is our home.
Our founding fathers couldn't have put it any better. God bless America. Hoorah! So after a montage of training and exposition of Jed reading off the Marine Handbook, they make their first strike in order to get the weapons. Are you trying to make me mad? I mean, seriously, how are you gonna screw up one of the most iconic scenes in this movie that made us just want to watch it even more? It just made the movie much more exciting. And yet you give us this? I mean, this freaking scene made us jizz in our pants when we went to watch it in the commercials. And we went to go see it in theaters after all. I mean, I wasn't there in the time, but I still would have gone to see it just for that reason. I freaking looked for the movie when I saw it on commercial, or at least on the YouTube previews. I went and go saw it. And it made me jizz in my pants because of the fact that that was freaking awesome. This was just pathetic. Mediocre. Why? First off, this guy's a soldier to the 4th strongest army in the world, and yet he and his buddies not only get outrun by a civilian only feet away, but also loses grip when he had her on the ground and just elbows him. What? Second, how the hell do you dig holes onto a concrete ground, hide yourself in the trash in a wide open alleyway, and not be seen by other soldiers? And third, after firing at them and killing them with their weapons, they have confirmed that to be untrustworthy weapons. Why does it take the Korean army so long to respond to shots fired? I'm pretty sure echoes can be heard, and the nearest soldier I saw was not even a block away. You know, for being the 4th largest army in the world and being a pain in the ass for Americans like us, you kind of think they would have intellect, right? I mean, right? And actually, I hope they're that stupid. Why? Because it eases my worries when we ever go up against them, if we ever go up against them. And I pray to God we don't, but if we do, I pray to God that their intellect is this stupid. The now self-proclaimed Wolverines are out on a shooting rampage, hoping that the enemy gets scared off their land. Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, I know this is PG-13 and not supposed to have that much blood, but, and I know I'm sounding like a blood-hungry monster, which I'm not. I'm not! But if you're going to have a war-themed movie which is also based on a violent film, You expect, no, you want blood. And yet not even one speck of blood is shown in this montage, and it's just a bunch of paid actors playing dead. I mean, was there no budget for blood? Couldn't you just go to the dollar store and buy ketchup for crying out loud? It's not Hollywood blood, but it's still basic blood.
That's a pig that don't fly straight. Neither do you, Frank.
Skipping the reenacting of the hunting scene, which by the way was actually kind of funny. Wait a minute! Not even that there's blood is properly shown on his lip to show that he actually drank the blood. Is there? He got mad and said that there was blood on his lip. What the hell? While on another explosion run that kills off Trader Baby Pete, Daryl and this other guy, whom I never bothered to pay attention to, rob a Subway restaurant for food and take it back to the base. Why? You have arms dealers providing you weapons earlier. You have people around the city aiding you in both protection and providing of necessities. And to top it off, these are people you're supposed to be protecting and saving from occupation from the Koreans. Yet you have the balls to be a hypocrite in front of your people by robbing a Subway at gunpoint and thinking they won't turn their backs on you to the Koreans, so they do so? What the fuck were you thinking? I mean, I'm pretty sure Jed has something to say about this. Oh, screw you! So Jed and Matt later have a fight on, and Matt endangering the group by leaving off to see if he alone can rescue Erica.
I left for 3 days. When Mom died, you left for 6 years. Right?
Really? You guys were acting about a fine a scene or two ago, yet you finally get the balls to actually tell us that you're the reason you're a douchebag is because Jed left after the death of your mother? Really? I mean, I sympathize with you on that, but if your brother has lately been saving your ass, keeping you out of harm's way, and knows what he's doing, I think you should show some respect for the man and listen to him. So does Matt take in his brother's advice and stop thinking irrationally and endangering the group? Well, being a total asshole he has been in the last 50 minutes of the film, nope. And in that process, he manages to get one of his teammates killed in the process. He manages to escape with Erica, and with the attack already backfired, Jed and the team make their way back to the base.
What? Julie's freaking out.
No, she won't, and neither will Jed. Hell, he doesn't even apologize or begs forgiveness for his actions. It's just forgotten, like the character himself. Well, we still got some bloodless action scenes to look forward to. A little late for an introduction, don't you think? I mean, we already know who you are, technically. So why even bother? I mean, if the original had anything right completely, was timing and pacing. And this movie just makes that original look like a mockery. So we finally get some insight on the enemy, and it seems that the Koreans have finally had enough of Captain Cho's incompetence, played by Will Lee. In response, he says he has a plan. Why? He hasn't said a single word in this movie. Except maybe one here and there, but that was it. If anything, the other antagonists from the original actually had more screen time and dialogue than this guy. And also, why did he use the Russian Spetsnaz they mentioned earlier today that they purposely put there to aid the Koreans in the first place? Even the original took advantage of that. It even gave him an actual screen time to whom he was. So Cho's plan goes into action and has bombs fly over the base, killing off, of course, a few of the characters we had little to no care for, and like a black man and a dumb blonde in a horror film, they die for the sake of emotional loss and casualties. Even though the movie shows little to no mention in later scenes. Just how I felt when they saw them die. By the way, brings the question, how did Cho know where they were and where to drop the bombs? I mean, that's a high money risk right there actually, that's a gamble. After escaping the bombs and leaving the Koreans with only a few bodies to take with them, they coincidentally come across 3 Marines, really, only 3, who were looking for help of the Wolverines. And oh my god, these Marines have the most weakest lines in the movies. Worse than the kids are getting, actually. Just listen to what they speak.
Hey, shit for brains. You're assassin of United States Marine.
All right, look. Semper Fi Wolverines.
Over. What is this? A rifle. That's right, motard. Marine and his rifle. It's the baddest shit-kicking weapon in the world.
It went defunct.
Should have fought.
Now tell me, what Marine says that? I mean, I know Marines personally myself, and oh my gosh, can't make cuss. And really, they cuss so much, they make truck drivers and sailors sound like their kindergartens finally discovering the art of bad words. Come on, guys. The Marines were sent on a mission to retrieve a computer that can intercept the Koreans' communication and made the turning point of the war. Mac coincidentally took a picture of Cho earlier carrying the damn thing, and they decided to go fetch it at the police department. When they get there, the Marines are outshined by the Wolverines' performances.
I hate these kids.
Don't we all? They manage to stealth their way into the building and find it, but they are soon compromised, resulting in a shootout. By the way, guess what happens to Daryl? That's right, they finally used the Russian and placed a tracker on that kid. Now you finally decide to do it? How dumb can you be? I mean, the movie's halfway done, and thank God, actually. And there's no purpose to it anymore. So why do it? As the fire enrages, Cho and Jay go at it in a final showdown, and somehow knows the passcode to his dad's safe and kills Cho. They still manage to escape with one Marine dead and a tracker and a kid. Because the tracker is in him, they manage to find the groove, killing off Jed in the process. They then manage to escape, that then steal a car that somehow had keys in them and drove off. I'm not just whatever makes this movie end. They make us stop to wonder how they were discovered.
Let me see this. Let me see it. It's not a knife wound. They tagged him with something, like what they do with the animals.
They're tracking him?
How did you know Daryl had a wound in him? And second, how did you know there was a tracker in him? So we finally get our decent emotional scene, and this results in Daryl getting left behind and never to be seen again. No, I still prefer the original. What? They manage to get the Marines to their LZ and are asked to come back home with them. However, Matt makes a decision for everyone by saying no and getting our rerun of the cliche speech we got earlier from Jed.
The fact is, we're not doing too bad for a bunch of kids. We're gonna fight. And we're gonna keep fighting because it's easier now. And we're used to it. The rest of you are gonna have a tougher choice. Because we're not gonna sell it to you.
Better said it the first time, man. God bless America. So we finally get our ending as we see the new and recruited Wolverines liberating the camp, in which I have a $1,000 bet that the scene would have made a good battle scene. But no, we just get a good look at the prisoners riding and an American flag being flown high as we cut to black and into the credits, making us think that there's gonna be a sequel underway. Oh God, no. Well, that's the 2012 version of Red Dawn, people. Suck my ball. This movie is by far a massive failure as a readaptation. I was once considered one of the most violent films and having a huge cult following that you have to satisfy to. It's bland and boring, there's no blood to make the realism happen, the scenario was never fully taken advantage of, and the timing of execution was just awful. The writing was also weak, and the direction the characters were taking upon were a mockery of the original. If anything, the original had politics behind its back and had much more of a statement to go on than this one. A statement that I hardly side on, if any liberal can side on at all. That shows that the sides of the conservatives being right mainly on the Fifth Amendment rights. This movie, however, had little to go on, missing the point of the first. There were also plot devices, an idea that I'm always against, that could have been taken advantage of and maybe even made the story a little more longer and interesting. but it didn't. This movie was just a downright mediocre. So for my final rating, I'm giving this a 1 star out of 5 rating. And I pray to God there's no sequel based on that ending. I really don't. I'm JC, and this is N.E.E.R Entertainment, and this is Wolverines! Now, if you don't mind, I gotta wash off this ketchup off my face. What, you actually thought that was blood?